Alright, today we're going to take care of getting this manure pump tore apart and put a parts list together. This has been in the shop for a couple of days here, and we had a couple of interruptions that didn't allow us to get it tore apart. So we're going to tear it apart today and get a parts list put together here. So let's get after it here. Alright, so I ended up getting the prop off that shaft. However, I ended up hitting the shaft with the torch. We sacrificed the shaft. I gotta get a new one of them. And I also caught myself on fire. Usually I carry a pair of reader glasses, a couple of pens in this right-hand pocket, and some sparks got down in there, caught the shirt on fire, ruined my glasses, burned a big hole in the back side of this pocket, so I won't have to worry about washing this shirt. This one will get thrown away. Now this is a polyester shirt. I know better than to wear polyester around welding and torching and all that crap. Yeah, usually I have a cotton shirt on, or I have my leather welding coat on. So I lost this shirt. This one, I had a pretty good flame here burning. And I also burned into my Millennial Farmer shirt. So I kind of ruined that too. So Zach, if you're watching, I need a new shirt. Size extra large. So let me show you what this shaft looks like here. I dropped the lens out of these glasses, so that's what they look like. They're junk. I think I got these at the dollar store for $1. And damn it, I like them too. They were metal frame. Yeah, they work good. So anyways, this prop is pretty good and thick. And I started cutting right here, and I dived down into it a little bit, and I said, damn it. So I got a little careless after that. I wanted it off in there. So we sacrificed the shaft. However, we've got to take the gearbox apart anyways to put a seal in there, so we might as well, well, we're going to have to replace the shaft. So I got to get this little wiper cutter off of here before we go and lift this gearbox off. I've got all the bolts out of the housing itself. I've got to take this hose off here. We took the bottom of the fan housing off. That's all going to have to be replaced along with a new fan. We'll wrap a chain on here in a little bit. After I get this guy here off, I'm going to have to torch them bolts out. They're Allen head, they're countersunk Allen head bolts, and they're wallered a little bit, so I've got to torch them off. Now, there's a drive line that comes down in through this square tube, and it's got several U-joints on down through the line here, and you just, well, it's kind of like a PTO shaft set up there. We've got that unleashed and pulled back, and it is as far forward as it can go. It's right into the bearing itself on this next section here. So what we're going to have to do is we'll get a chain on there, we'll hook it to the forklift, and then we'll just have to back it away from this yoke here. It's in the shaft is in the yoke about 1 inch. So I've got 2 bolts holding here, and that's all there is, and then we'll back it away here. Well, we're going to give this a try. Got a nut welded on there, and what there is a 16 millimeter or a 5/8 bolt, left-hand threads that hold that impeller to the shaft. It must be, yeah, it's a keyed shaft. Got to be a keyed shaft. It's been a while since I've had one of these apart. So I took the bolt out, I cut the head of the bolt off, and then I spun that bolt back in so that we have something to jack against. Now, if this doesn't work, I do have a large gear puller that I might be able to use on it as well, but we're going to try this first. I already gave it quite a bit of heat. I had it hanging from a chain on the forklift. I had a chain around that horizontal shaft, and I tried pounding it off, and that didn't work. And as you can see, the housing right at the throat there is got quite a bit of wear. So it definitely needs, the housing definitely needs to be replaced. But in order to replace the housing, you got to have the fan off. And if we're going to take the fan off, we might as well put a new fan back on. So we had a wheel weight that loosened up on this tractor as well. They heard it clunking. And we determined that it was this weight on this left-hand side. And Nate said the 4 turns and that nut came right off. So this has got inner wheel weights on the front wheels. Now, I did a video a couple years ago with this wheel here on this side loosened up, and it came over and it actually hit against the blade frame, and we had to take everything all back apart again because it had moved again, and we had to reset the wheel a couple years ago. Now what he's going to do is he's going to stack some washers on that bolt right there. And that wheel is not as clean as I'd like to see it, but it is what it is. So he's going to stack some washers on that bolt and retighten that one. And then there is 2 other bolts that hold that inner wheel weight on there. And he is going to do the same thing to those there. So we're going to go ahead and try to see if we can't get this fan off without any trouble here. What are you looking for, Nate? Nah. Supporting the I5T305, ain't you? Or EOS, I5T EOS, huh? How'd you make out with that weight? Got all 3 tight? Gotta do one more? Okay. Were the other ones loose too? Had to be. No? No? Yeah. Alright, so they're gonna have this one done here in a second. Alright, that didn't work. So now we're going to get the torch in there. Looks like we're probably going to destroy that shaft too. So as long as we're replacing the one shaft, we might as well replace both. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. If the gearbox is gotta come apart, it might as well come apart. You got any TikToks?
Not today, sir.
No, come on.
Would you make one today?
All right, we got this godforsaken fan off, finally. Well, there's the old fan. I need a new one of them. We need a new housing because that's all wore out. Got some hose in her, wore right through. And I don't know what the shaft looks like. Shaft is perfect. Perfect. I got a little nick right there. But other than that, that shaft is in good shape. Now, this is the bolt that holds the fan on. I cut the head of it off, threaded it in there so that I had something to push against, but that didn't work. So we're gonna continue working on this. Alright, we've pulled the other pulp out of the shop. We're going to be waiting for parts for that. Now we're going to pull this one in. Jaden's getting it washed off now. Then we'll get that back inside. First thing I'm going to do is see if I can get the top cover off of this gearbox. See what's going on in there. I think there might be something broken there. It might be something simple in the actual driveline. We get them covers off on that box tube where the driveline comes down through the box tube. This fan and housing and everything else is like brand new on this one. And you can just tell by the thickness of the prop here. This is it's like a bedding and straw cutter for guys that bed with straw, and that's basically all that's there for. We really don't even need it on there, but it's there. So he's gonna get this washed off. We'll get it inside and check her over and see what we can determine is wrong with the gearbox, and then we've got to weld that frame. Well, folks, it is the following day here now. It is Sunday morning. We ended up pulling that pulp out that we were working on here yesterday. We've gotten to the point where we know what parts we need for it, and everything is sitting on a pallet here, just waiting for a bunch of new parts to be added to it. They got the 9410 cleaned up. They got the wheel weight tightened up, and they ended up throwing a coat of wax on it. We've got some other things that we want to do to this tractor. However, that's going to have to wait until the next video as well. 7730, I pulled that in here this morning. It's starting to snow out a little bit now. It's actually been relatively warm here, and it was starting to get a bunch of snow on it, so I wanted to pull it in. It needs an oil change. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do that. It also needs a set of brakes put on it. That's going to be in a future video as well. What we're going to work on here now is the waste oil heater. Last week before, that started dumping a bunch of smoke into the shop here, and that little vent on the chimney pipe there, the smoke was coming out of that. That was stuck open, which it was doing what it was supposed to do. I fiddled around with it, got it to shut, and then the damn thing started just bellowing smoke out through the vents and everything else. It actually started on fire. I didn't get that on video, and I also didn't get, well, what had happened to it was the chimney was plugged. Me and Tim cleaned the chimney out here last Sunday. I didn't get that on video. It was just a lot of dust and dirt and whatever. We probably filled well, I know for a fact, we filled that trash can right there a little over a third full of just the most dirtiest ash you've ever seen. So we've got the chimney cleared out on that. However, it burned some of the insulation board and the fire brick board, whatever the heck you call it, on the inside of that, and I had to order some parts for it. And I've got those parts here in this box, and that's what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna put this stuff in there so we can get that going. To get a little heat in the shop, we've been using that little guy there. We haven't bothered with using that big heater. It's just a little aggressive in this building. It makes a lot of smoke and everything else. So let's go ahead and get them insulation boards in this heater here. Alright, what you're looking into here is the actual Firebox itself. So the burner is about where the camera's setting. Yeah, it's in a little farther. About where my hand is setting, and then that generates the flame back in here. It heats up this box, if you will, and then there's tube coils here, and then the fan kind of blows that hot air out through the front of the heater, and that's where you get your heat from. Now, I didn't video this last week, and then I was only sticking the vacuum cleaner in through what holes I could get to on this end. I didn't have this side off at all, and I didn't discover what we had going on until I had reached my hand in and the insulation board was all broke apart. But this compartment right here was filled up that full. You could see the mark on the back, and then that bridged up this way. So this is the stuff that we cleaned out. It's just ash. Some of the guys that know more about these might say that it's from gear oil being in the oil, which we have a tendency of doing that. So we're going to bring the vacuum cleaner over, clean this out the rest of the way. You can see this tube here is, you know, it's right plugged full of it. And then we'll get our insulation boards put on, and we'll be able to wrap this up. Hopefully get some heat brewing here. All right, this is the cover here that we just took off, and there's an insulation board that goes on there. That's right here. And all that was left of that is these little corner pieces held in with 3/8 bolts. And when I vacuumed this out last week, this stuff was all just brittled up and sitting inside the Firebox. So let's go ahead and scrape this stuff here off. Then we'll bolt that new one in place. As you can see, we have this bolted into place. Now we're going to go ahead and put this on the side of the heater. And then we've got some other small gaskets in this box here that we need to put on the actual burner itself. So let's go ahead and get this on there, and then we can start figuring out where those other gaskets go. All right, we have everything put together on the heater itself. We're gonna fire that up in a second. Here is an old burner unit here, and I ended up getting two of these. They're injector tips, and the injector tip goes right in the end of the burner here. So I replaced that already on the burner that is on that unit, and that is right on this one side inside that unit that sticks out there. So we're going to fire that up in a second here. But how this burner works is there's it's a used oil furnace. That's a 1,000-gallon storage tank that we dump all of our used oil in, and then there's I think it's a 160-gallon tank on the bottom of that unit itself, and then we just pump oil over time to time with that diaphragm pump. So oil is fed through the unit with this electric pump that's mounted on top of the tank here. That feeds the oil up into the burner head itself, and then it uses air pressure to push the oil through the burner and past the igniter. The igniter kind of works like that salamander heater that we use to thaw these pumps out with. There is a electrode thing on each side here, and it creates a electrical current and a spark here, and then that's what ignites the oil itself. So, and then you get a flame, kind of like a torch flame, that comes out the end of the unit. Now, this has got a few protection devices on there. For one, it won't continue to pump oil if it doesn't detect a spark or a flame. So it'll shut the oil pump down. It's got some safety features to it to kind of protect things And I don't know if there's anything to do with heat, you know, if this unit gets too hot, if it will shut the unit down or not. But we'll go ahead and fire this up. We've got to hit the test button, the reset button, to get it to go because it doesn't have oil charged into it yet. So it might take a couple of times of hitting this reset button, which is just up on the top here. Right up, where is it? Right there. So you just hold that in, and then that'll take a second to fire here. There it is started to pump itself full, and there we have it. We have a flame. Well, it's, yeah, we've got a flame there now. So it is working. Yeah, started off a lot easier than I thought it was going to. So once that gets up to temperature, then the fan will turn on, and what it'll do is it'll blow the air out past that firebox, if you will, and then that's how it creates the heat. It works really good for the building that it's in here. We basically bought it to heat this side of the shop up to where that overhead door is right there. And I need to put some ceiling fans in here. However, I worry about equipment hitting the ceiling fans because this side is only 14 foot tall and that side is 16 foot tall. But that waste oil heater right there will heat the other part of the building here as well, which we have in-floor heat on this side and we heat with propane. So the used oil is basically free, and we have the thermostat set higher on that one than what the in-floor heat is, and that will actually heat the whole building. We need to get some fans to move some air around and it would work a little better. So I just got one quick thing I want to share with you here. The guys waxed this 9410 yesterday, and we've got real dull wheels here, and we soaped it down, cleaned it up, and a lot of what you see here is corn silage that has gotten onto these wheels, and it's got the sticky starch on there, and it just will not come off, and it's also faded somewhat. So we've got these green SOS pads here, and I've already done some of the rim right there, and we'll just do a little spot on this wheel. And I did a spot on this wheel on this 7730, and I didn't think it was going to work because this hasn't been on the bunk, but I scrubbed that spot right there and it really made it shine. Now these wheels probably should be painted, but you know, before they get painted they should be sanded down anyway. So we'll do a little spot on this wheel here, and then we'll jump over onto that wheel on the other side. These are, you know, just SOS scrub pads here. You know, just dump it in the water. We'll just do some, we'll do a spot up in here. Doesn't take much. Now we'll get a rag and we'll wipe that off. Show you what it looks like. Now, that made quite a bit of a difference there. Now we'll jump over to this other wheel on the 7730, and we're actually going to scrub these wheels up, try to get that to shine a little better. Now we're over on this 7730 here. We'll just wipe this down a little bit to show you that it's not, you know, something that you can wipe off with a rag. Bring our pad over here. These bolts could be a little bit of a finger biter. And what I spend on that, 20 seconds. And all I'm doing is just wiping off the, yeah. So that made quite a bit of a difference there. So, we're gonna scrub these wheels too. I might repaint these. These will be easy enough to paint. We can just pull it off the tractor after we scrub them down. So that is gonna do it for this video, folks. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you at the next one.